My name is Bessie Hart, 29 years old. The morning of my birthday felt different, the kind of fragile hope you can't quite admit to yourself. The sun was bright but not warm. My playlist was cheerful but hollow. As I drove toward my parents' house with a gift bag resting in the passenger seat, I kept thinking, maybe this year they remembered. Maybe I'd walk in, and for once, it would actually be about me. When I turned into the familiar circular driveway, the first thing I saw was balloons, gold and white, drifting against the fountain spray. A banner across the porch, people clapping, music blasting from inside. For a second, my throat tightened with the kind of emotion you don't trust, because it hurts when you're wrong. I stepped out of the car and smiled, small and cautious, the way you do when you want something to be true. But then I saw the letters, huge, sparkling, mocking. Congratulations, Amanda. The air went out of me like a slow leak. Amanda came spinning down the steps in a tight white dress, cap and gown draped over one arm, her phone already tilted toward her perfect angle. "Oh my God, you guys," she squealed. "This is everything." She didn't even glance my way. People clapped louder. Someone popped confetti. The music swelled. I stood there, still holding my father's gift to me, because I always had to buy it myself, wrap it, and hand it over for him to give back. A weird ritual we all pretended was normal. My mother appeared from the kitchen doorway, cheeks flushed, apron spotless. "Bessie, you're here early. Isn't this wonderful? We thought we'd combine your birthday with Amanda's graduation. 2 birds, 1 stone." Her smile faltered when she saw my face. "You don't like a lot of attention anyway, right?" My father chimed in from the living room couch, beer in hand. "We ordered your favorite cake. See? We didn't forget." A cake rolled out from the dining room, gleaming with gold frosting that read, "Congratulations, Amanda." Her photo, her cap, her year. Not a single candle for me. Amanda finally noticed me. "Oh, hey," she said, leaning in for an air kiss that never landed. "You didn't tell me you were coming. It's fine, though. We can totally share the party, unless that makes you feel weird." I didn't answer. I just nodded once, because that's what I always did. Then she added casually, "By the way, we used your card for the cake. It was just easier." The words barely registered before instinct made me check my phone. Banking app open. Charges blinking back at me like tiny betrayals. $900 for catering. $500 venue deposit. $200 for flowers, labeled Amanda's big day. Something in me went very still. Not angry, just emptied out. I set the gift bag down on the counter. "You use my credit card?" I asked quietly. Amanda shrugged. "It's family. Don't be dramatic." My mother sighed. "Sweetheart, it's just a few things. You'll get paid back." I almost laughed. When? After another decade of being invisible? I walked through the house, every photo frame whispering a version of the same story. Amanda winning, Amanda smiling, Amanda being celebrated. My face appeared only in the background, blurred, cropped, or mid-blink. I found my father watching sports in the den. "Did you know about this?" He didn't look up. "About what?" "My card. The party." "Oh," he said finally. "Your mom handled that. Don't ruin the mood, okay? She worked hard on this." Don't ruin the mood. The family motto. I stepped outside. The laughter behind me sounded like something breaking. Driving away, I kept one hand tight on the steering wheel, the other on the folder of receipts I'd started keeping months ago. Every favor, every loan, every quiet instance of being used. I hadn't planned to need them, until now. At a red light, I scrolled back through Amanda's messages. "You're not making a big deal about your birthday, right? It's close to my graduation, and I kind of want the spotlight, lol." I'd laughed when I read it. Now it looked like premeditation. Back home, I sat on the couch in silence. Not crying, just thinking. My apartment smelled faintly of coffee and the lemon candle I'd lit that morning. I stared at the blank wall until the light faded from gold to gray. The next day, my mother texted, "You embarrassed Amanda by walking out. You made everything about you again." I read it twice, then a third time. My pulse didn't even rise. Instead, I opened my laptop, logged into my bank account, printed every transaction related to that day. The venue, the cake, the decorations. Each one with Amanda's email, her phone number, her delivery address. Proof. I wasn't going to shout or post or beg them to understand. I was going to do something they'd never seen from me before. I was going to act. The following week, I stood inside the small, echoing lobby of the local police station, fluorescent lights humming overhead. My hands shook slightly as I handed over the folder. "I'd like to file a report," I said. The officer looked up from his desk. "Against who?" I swallowed. My sister. He blinked. For what? Fraud. Unauthorized use of my credit card. His expression softened with discomfort, the kind people reserve for messy family business. You sure you want to do this? Yes, I said, my voice steady now. Because if I don't, she'll do it again. He nodded slowly and started writing. When I left, the afternoon air felt sharper, lighter, like I'd finally stepped out of a fog. That night, I scrolled through social media and saw Amanda's smiling face above the cake I'd paid for. Class of 2025. Hundreds of likes. Captions full of gratitude for her amazing family. Not a word about me, not even a tag. I stared at the photo for a long time, tracing the reflection of the candles in her eyes, and thought, this is the last time you use me to shine. Then I closed the app, shut off my phone, and sat in the dark with nothing but the sound of my own heartbeat and the faint, satisfying thought that for once, I was the one holding the power. 2 weeks later, my phone started ringing before the sun was fully up. It was the old tone I never changed, a cheerfully oblivious chime that didn't fit the way my stomach dropped. I watched it buzz across the nightstand, Amanda's name pulsing like a warning flare. First call, decline. Second, decline. Third, decline. The fourth, I answered, because the silence between rings was louder than the sound itself. Oh my God, Bessie! Her voice splintered, breathy, urgent. I'm at the police station. They said there's a report with your name. Fraud. Why would you do this? Why would you do this to me? I sat up and turned on the light. The sudden brightness made everything hyper-real. The uneven stack of books, the cup with yesterday's coffee ring, the wrinkle in the sheet where I'd been curled. You're at the station because you used my card without permission, I said quietly. You didn't ask. You never ask. That's not fair. Her breath hitched, then steadied like she'd found a script. It was for both of us. Mom said it was fine. They're asking me questions, Bessie. Do you want me to go to jail? Is that what you want? What I want, I said, my voice steadying, is to not be stolen from. What I want is to stop living as your fallback plan. A sharp inhale. You're ruining my life over a party. No, I said. I'm refusing to let you ruin mine. Silence. Then a strangled whisper. I didn't think it would go this far. That's the problem, I said. It's never gone far for you. When the line went dead, I sat in the thin morning light and listened to the apartment wake up. The neighbor's door, the elevator cables thrumming, a distant dog bark. I felt the old instinct rising, the urge to call, to soothe, to explain away the consequences like a human buffer. I closed my eyes and let the feeling crest and pass like a wave I didn't have to drown in anymore. By mid-morning, my phone was a siren. Messages from Mom, Dad, an aunt who only remembered my birthday when Facebook reminded her. Mom, you went too far. Amanda is devastated. Dad, you really want to throw your own sister in jail over a misunderstanding? Aunt Karen, not everything has to be legal, dear. Family talks things out. I put the phone face down and brewed coffee. The quiet drip felt like defiance. When it finished, I stood by the window with the warm mug between my palms and noticed how steady my hands were. There was no thrill in it, no victory. Just a clear, clean line where one version of me ended and another began. That afternoon, Amanda tried a different tactic, a text that read, "Can I come over just to talk? Then, please. Then, I'm outside." I looked through the peephole at the familiar shape I had loved and resented in equal measure since childhood. Eyes red, mascara gathered like bruises under her lashes, posture collapsed into a practiced fragility. I opened the door but left the chain on. What do you want, Amanda? I need you to drop the report, she said, voice small. They said it could go on my record. Jobs, travel, everything. I didn't mean for this to happen. You took a photo of my card months ago, I said. You used it 3 times for deposits and vendors. You added your email and phone to the contracts. That's not an accident. That's a plan. Her gaze slicked to anger, then back to tears so fast it made the air shift. You've always been jealous of me, she said. Admit it. That's what this is about. I actually laughed, the sound flat and surprised. Jealous of what, exactly? The way people save you from yourself? The way you never have to learn? She flinched. You think being right makes you better. No, I said, it makes me safe. She looked past me, into my small, tidy living room, at the couch with the blanket I actually bought for myself, at the framed photo of a mountain trail I'd hiked alone because no one wanted to go. Please, she whispered. I'm scared. I unlatched the chain and opened the door fully, not an invitation, just clarity. Then be scared enough to change, I said, and closed it with a quiet click that felt, for once, like a boundary instead of a battlefield. The family barrage intensified. A three-way call, I let go, to voicemail. Mom's voice first, brittle as spun sugar. You're not just punishing Amanda, you're punishing this family. Dad next, soft with practiced reason. Daughter, sometimes we do things we don't like because family demands it. The word demands hung in the air like a slip we were all pretending hadn't been said aloud. I didn't call back. I went for a walk instead, the kind where your feet know your neighborhood better than your thoughts do. The sky was low and white. In a bakery window, a little girl pressed her nose to the glass, eyes wide at a row of cupcakes. I remembered my 10th birthday, the imagined pancakes, the real silence. The old ache rose and, shockingly, didn't swallow me. It just sat beside me like an old companion that no longer got to drive. The next strike came digitally. Amanda posted a long, vague paragraph about betrayal. How some people will stab you in the back and then ask you to apologize for bleeding. She tagged every cousin, aunt, and anyone with the last name Hart. A photo of her by the fountain, chin lifted like a martyr. Love harder. Forgive faster. Family first. The comments were a soft chorus of sympathies and shallow wisdom. I didn't reply. I took screenshots. Every line is cleaner in black and white. She didn't stop there. The email to my boss landed the following morning, arriving with the cheery ping we reserve for project updates and calendar invites. Subject: concern for Bessie. Body: a friend of the family here. Bessie is acting rashly due to a personal crisis and might be lashing out. Just thought you should know. My boss forwarded it immediately with, "Do I need to block this person?" I wrote back, "Amanda, please do." The reply, "Consider it done." I exhaled a breath I didn't know I was holding and felt grateful for the simple, protective clarity of people who weren't trapped in our family's gravity. Evenings grew longer. I ate alone, read, watered a plant I'd successfully kept alive for almost a year. In the quiet, the guilt visited like weather, arriving, staying, leaving. No longer a permanent climate. When it came, I examined it. Was it the healthy alarm bell that keeps you human, or the rehearsed reflex that kept me small? More and more, I could tell the difference. On the fourth night, Dad called late, voice modulated into something like gentleness. "We know you've felt overlooked," he said. "We hear you, but this isn't how to fix it." "Fix what?" I asked. "Being stolen from?" "You're thinking in terms of rules," he said. "Family is bigger than rules." "Maybe that's the problem," I said, and the line clicked silent while a machine somewhere recorded our familiar misalignment for no one in particular. Days blurred into a rhythm of tiny resistances. I cooked for myself. I deleted old message threads that existed only to pull me back into past versions of me. I opened a savings account that only I could touch and transferred a small, symbolic sum. It felt like moving money from a myth into a fact. Then, one afternoon, my phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number. The words were spare, efficient, institutional. "Ms. Hart, this is Officer Reyes. Please be aware that your sister has been informed of the ongoing investigation. We will keep you updated." I stared at it and pictured a bland office with a desk, a folder, a nameplate. A system that did not care about the mythology of the Hart family, only the math of what happened. Amanda had never met that kind of mirror before. By the end of the week, the temperature at home had changed. Fewer lectures, more silence that felt like strategy. Then Mom called with a voice as bright as polished silver. "We just want to talk," she said. "All of us. As a family." The next sound was Amanda's, small, flat, somewhere between coached and coerced. "I'm sorry," she said. "Okay? I didn't mean to hurt you." "What are you sorry for?" I asked. A pause long enough to make the honesty tilt. "For taking your card without asking." "Not taking," I said. "Stealing." Another pause. A muffled conversation away from the phone. Dad returned, voice iced over. "You've made your point. What now? You cut us off? Is that the plan?" "No," I said. "The plan is to stop pretending this is normal." I ended the call, not dramatic, not cruel, just done. The silence afterward was clean. That night, my phone lit up on the counter again. A new text from Mom this time, with the same cadence she used when she reminded the dance teacher about Amanda's stage placement, when she sweet-talked the bank manager into waiving a fee, when she booked a last-minute table at a full restaurant. "We're coming to your office tomorrow." Not, "Can we talk?" Not, "Are you available?" A plan made for me, without me, like so many before it. I read it twice, set the phone down, and felt the storm gathering at the edges of the room. It didn't scare me the way storms used to. It electrified the air, yes, but it also lit up the ground at my feet. I cleaned the dishes, put the mug on its shelf, and laid out a simple outfit on the chair. Nothing that apologized, nothing that boasted. Before bed, I stood by the window and watched the city glow. Somewhere out there, people were celebrating things they actually earned, and somewhere else, people were learning hard lessons they'd delayed for years. The glass held my reflection steady. My face looked like mine, not the understudy in someone else's show. I turned off the light, and the room went soft and blue. "Tomorrow," I whispered, not to Amanda, not to my parents, but to the version of me who had waited politely at the edge of every room. "Tomorrow we choose us." The next morning felt deceptively calm. I dressed in a navy blouse, the one that made me feel invisible enough to survive an office full of people, yet sharp enough not to be underestimated. My hair was still damp when I left my apartment, the city not fully awake. Clouds hovered low, the kind that promised rain but hadn't decided when. By the time I arrived at work, the lobby lights were soft gold, quiet hums of conversation and footsteps bouncing off the marble floor. I told myself maybe she wouldn't come. Maybe Mom would finally realize boundaries weren't invitations. At 9:17, the receptionist called. "Bessie, there's a woman here asking for you, says it's urgent. She, says she's your mother." I felt the shift immediately, the whole world tilting into that old gravitational pull. "Send her up," I said, because running would only delay the inevitable. Mom stepped off the elevator with the same poise she used at charity dinners. Tailored blazer, pearls, perfume that could smother small talk. Her heels clicked across the tile like punctuation. "I raised you better than this," she said before I could speak. "No hello, no how are you?" "Let's step outside," I said quietly. We walked past coworkers pretending not to stare, through glass doors, into the cool morning air. She turned on me the moment the doors closed. "You've humiliated your sister," she said. "She might not get the job now. Do you understand what this means? Her whole career could be ruined." I folded my arms, the breeze tugging at my hair. "That's usually what happens when you commit fraud." Her jaw tightened. "You're doing this out of spite, over one party." "Over one lifetime," I said. "You've let her take, and the moment someone tells her no, it's suddenly cruelty?" Her tone shifted, sharp, cold. "We raised you. We paid for your school clothes, your lessons, your food." I met her gaze evenly. "And in return, I gave you a down payment on your house, covered your utilities for 2 years. Don't rewrite the history just because it's finally inconvenient." "That was your choice," she snapped. "We never asked you to help." "No," I said. "You just expected it." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The city traffic filled the silence between us. Horns, footsteps, the distant wail of an ambulance. "I'm not dropping the report," I said finally. "And if Amanda has any sense left, she'll take the deal Officer Reyes offered." Her eyes narrowed. "You're not just punishing Amanda. You're punishing this family." Then maybe this family should stop confusing punishment with consequence. Her mouth parted, but no words came. I walked back inside without looking back. 2 days later, the storm shifted online. Amanda posted a long caption under a photo of herself sitting by a window, chin tilted toward the light. "Sometimes the people you love most will destroy you to feel whole." She tagged every relative we had. The comments section filled fast. "You're so strong, Manda. Family is supposed to love you. Who would do that to their own sister?" I didn't reply. I took screenshots. The evidence was beginning to feel like armor. Cold, protective, necessary. Then came the private messages. My cousin Leah, who knew more than she let on, wrote, "They're drowning. Don't throw them a life raft." I smiled faintly. For once, someone saw clearly. But Amanda wasn't finished. The next morning, she sent an email to my boss. Pretending to be a concerned friend of the family, she wrote that I was going through an emotional breakdown and might lash out at colleagues. My boss called me into her office. She slid the printed email across the desk. "Do you want me to block her?" "Yes," I said simply. "She's unstable?" She's used to people cleaning up after her, I replied. My boss nodded once. We don't do that here. For the first time in weeks, I laughed, quietly. The investigation moved faster than anyone expected, maybe because Amanda had practically gift-wrapped the evidence herself. When Officer Reyes called, his tone was brisk. We're offering your sister a deal. Repay the full amount, complete 100 hours of community service, and attend a financial accountability workshop. If she accepts, there'll be no permanent record. She'll refuse, I said automatically. She already did, he replied. Said it would make her look guilty. She is guilty, he exhaled. That's what I told her. By the end of the week, the job offer Amanda bragged about for months was rescinded. The marketing firm's HR team found out about the fraud report during a background check. No explanation could save her. Mom texted, "Are you happy now?" Dad called, "You've made your point. Enough is enough." But what none of them understood was that this wasn't about revenge. It was about gravity. Every time I tried to orbit around them, I burned. I just wanted out of their atmosphere. A month later, they tried one last performance, a group video call. Mom started, voice soft and rehearsed. "We just want to talk, as a family." Amanda was on the screen, eyes downcast, tone flat. "I'm sorry, Bessie. I didn't mean to hurt you." "What are you sorry for?" I asked. A pause. "For taking your card without asking." "That's not what you did." Another pause, a glance off screen toward Mom, maybe Dad. "You stole from me," I said quietly. The silence that followed was heavy enough to bend time. Dad's voice finally broke it. "You've made your point. So what now? You disown us?" "No," I said. "I'm just done pretending any of this is normal." And then I hung up. No shouting, no tears, just the sound of the call ending, and with it, an entire era of my life. 3 months later, Amanda took the deal. Community service, repayment plan, workshop. My parents stopped calling. I moved out of state. New apartment, new job, new air. The city I chose was smaller, quieter. My neighbors said good morning. My coworkers treated me like a person, not an obligation. I bought a small table for two, even though it was just me. One evening, as the first chill of autumn crept in, I made tea and stepped out onto the balcony. Below, the city lights flickered like cautious promises. My phone buzzed once. Amanda again. "Saw you moved. Hope things are good. Could use someone to talk to." I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I set it face down on the table, let the steam from the tea curl into the air, and watched the city instead. The quiet wasn't loneliness, it was freedom. I still get moments when the old ache whispers, "What if you forgave them one more time?" But then I remember the party, the banner, the cake with someone else's name on it. And I know walking away wasn't cruelty, it was survival. Because sometimes love means letting the fire burn out. And finally stepping into the light yourself.